It's official, guys. Deuce Knight has officially flipped from Notre Dame to Auburn. We're going to talk about what this means for Notre Dame and Auburn right after the stinger. Before we talk about Deuce Knight, Auburn, Notre Dame, everything going on with this massive flip in the recruiting world, if you like what we are doing here at Campus to Canton, please hit that like and subscribe button. Show us some love. Show us that you love college football and the content that we are putting out. So it is official. Deuce Knight is flipping per Rivals from Notre Dame to Auburn, and he said it is because of Hugh Freeze. He is crediting Hugh Freeze for the most part for this entire flip, saying that he just does it with quarterbacks. His quarterbacks put up stats, and some people may disagree with that, but you really look at what he was able to do at times at Liberty. He actually has done a very good job with quarterbacks. Auburn this year may be a little bit questionable, but we'll get into that right now. First, let's start with Deuce Knight. Listed at 6'4", 208. He is currently a 4-star quarterback. He is my second-rated quarterback in this class. I really like this guy. Left-handed quarterback, can do it all. So currently he is listed as QB6 for On3. He is QB5 for 24/7 Sports, QB2 for Rivals, and QB2 for ESPN. Now, again, he is a left-handed quarterback. So there are a lot of people who are comparing him to Mike Vick. We'll talk about his athletic comparisons and his arm talent comparisons here in a minute, but he can do it all. Fires the ball in there with a ton of velocity. We do track that here at campstocanton.com. Comes in at a 58. So in high school, you're looking at players. The highest we have, I believe, is Josh Allen at a 61, just to give you an idea of how hard he can throw the ball. It measures in there with guys like Andrew Luck, Colin Kaepernick, Desmond Ridder, Michael Penix Jr. Again, everybody who's watched the NFL draft or even college football over the last year knows Michael Penix Jr. We're talking about one of the strongest arms in college football. That's who Deuce Knight compares to if you want to look at it from that perspective. Can throw the ball, challenge all three levels of the field. The biggest issue with this game is the consistency and the accuracy. Last year's just about 55% completion percentage. You want to see that much higher in the high school settings. But I will also say one Caleb Williams only completed 55% completion percentage in high school and need to go on to be pretty good. The Deuce Knight, as I mentioned, can challenge all three levels of the field. Actually, in the short intermediate areas, I do feel throws with a little bit of anticipation and is able to kind of put the ball where he needs to, and he seems to be a lot more accurate there. Going down the field, though, he can drop the ball in the bucket, but does tend to overthrow his wide receivers. And I do think his ball placement at times deep down the field lacks a little bit. But the best part about this, especially from a fantasy point of view, is he knows how to use his legs. He is a rushing threat. He can beat defenders with his legs. He is someone you have to account for when you are playing defense, which is why I thought him going to Notre Dame would actually be a good thing. We have seen what Mike Denbrock has been able to do from his time at Cincinnati with Desmond Ridder, to LSU with Jaden Daniels, to now Riley Leonard. Although Riley Leonard has not thrived as a passer, he has succeeded in running the ball. So I thought, hey, Deuce Knight going to Notre Dame would be a good thing, but now he's going to Auburn. So for the Notre Dame side, real quick, leaves that room wide open, right? I mean, the quarterbacks in there, I think is probably going to be now CJ Carr moving forward. He, I believe, is actually he's behind Steve Angeli currently on the depth chart. But I do think CJ Carr has some talent, looks really good in the spring game, probably steps up and is that quarterback moving forward. But we'll talk more about that in the fallout for Notre Dame in a different video. For the Auburn fans, this is a massive win for you guys. Look, you guys got a historic wide receiver class last year with Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, Malcolm Simmons. I mean, those guys alone are incredible. You had Caleb Burton just a couple years ago transferring from Ohio State, who was a highly rated wide receiver as well, injured his knee, fell down the recruiting services a little bit, but still an extremely talented wide receiver. This is an extremely loaded wide receiver room, and I do think that the offensive line is actually pretty good as well. They are a little bit underrated, and I do think maybe not playing up to their full potential, but we at Campus to Canton and the Campus to Canton and the C2C Winning Edge have them ranked as a 26th ranked offensive line in all of college football. While that doesn't sound great, that's still pretty darn good, especially with Hugh Freeze coming in here and really trying to rebuild and fix all this stuff. But when you go in and you look at the quarterbacks, obviously Peyton Thorne has not necessarily been good. They tried to go to Hank Brown. He ended up kind of falling on his face and has not looked good. Peyton Thorne's gone. I don't think Hank Brown is the answer. And I think Auburn fans agree with that. So with Deuce Knight flipping now, I think there's a realistic shot you are looking at him being your starting quarterback in 2025. Obviously, they brought in Walker White last year, who was also a top-rated quarterback in his class. I believe he was top 5. I know for sure he was top 10. He was he's a very talented, very athletic quarterback. We loved him here at Campus to Canton. However, Deuce Knight is better in everything that he does than Walker White. And I don't mean that in any shade toward Walker White because he's a very good quarterback. But I think Deuce Knight can go in there and easily beat out Holden Grenier, who might still be there. He could transfer out, but is still technically on the roster. And then I do think he can beat out Walker White, which could mean you're looking at 3 years of a guy who in our athletic comparison database compares to guys, again, like as an athlete, we have him as a 97 rated star index rating, which anybody over an 80 typically leads into the NFL, and higher than that, the closer to the 100, the better, obviously. So a 0.97 star index rating. And we have him with a similarity match of, again, Michael Penix Jr., Daniel Jones, Joe Milton, Tanner Mordecai, Dante Culpepper, but the biggest one for Auburn fans, and the one I'm going to end it on, he compares very favorably to one, Cameron Newton. Congratulations, Auburn fans. You guys got a good one. Excited to see if Deuce Knight can win this job next year. Let me know in the comments what you think about them flipping Deuce Knight from Notre Dame. Talk to you guys again soon.